Well, Jamie, Maverick Stars ambassador, of course, and again, like everybody else, you're dealing with lockdown. It's been a long time now, hasn't it? I mean, how are you at the moment? How's the family?
Yeah, do you know what, Tom? We've been all right, to be honest. We've been one of probably the rare breed who've enjoyed lockdown. So I think, from my point of view personally, the last couple of years, I'd say going on 3 years now, been so hectic, and it's been good because there's been a lot of memories made and nice trips away and success from the gym from a work point of view. But with anything like that comes the sacrifice what you make with your family, and you're away a lot of the time. So it's been nice to just, well, first of all, sit back and appreciate what's happened over the last couple of years. But more importantly, I think just spend a bit of time with the family. My kids have been in training for this for a few years. They've not come out of the bedrooms anyway. So their lives hasn't really changed that much. But I feel like probably over the last couple of years, as my kids are growing up, they're getting to that teenage sort of age, and you sort of lose touch with them a little bit. Whereas this has brought us back into touch with each other, so it's been nice.
So then you've had your time off. You've lots of family time now. Like everyone else, though, you must be itching to kind of get some idea of when you can get back to normality in terms of training and getting back in the gym again and everything else that's going on.
Yeah, of course. I think everyone's craving a bit of normality. It has been nice, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to work and sort of seeing what comes, really, because there's potentially a lot of big fights on the horizon for the lads in my gym. So looking forward to that. We've, even though we've been locked down in a sense where we've not been able to go out, we've been quite busy in the sense of with the stuff what we've been doing in the community. We try to raise funds and try to feed people who basically are in a situation which is horrible. The thought of it is terrible for me. People when they're not in school, young kids and stuff, and families where they just don't eat properly. So Maverick Stars, the charity what I'm an ambassador for, they've sort of worked really hard to make sure these kids don't go hungry and are fed, and it's ended up sort of far reaching, from the top and bottom of the country. And so even though we've been, me personally, I've not been able to actually get hands-on early on. We had to isolate ourselves, so we wasn't allowed to make contact. So we was doing a lot of stuff from home, but getting the word out there, trying to raise funds to make this possible has been sort of my role in it all. And I've enjoyed trying to help out because it must be a terrible situation to be in.
So now, I mean, I know you have been busy with the food programs, and Nige Travis, your great mate, the man you work with, he's Moss Side
associate, not my mate.
He's not your mate, no. For the purposes of this, we'll call him your friend and colleague. Okay. Now, he's been obviously hands-on in the community with Moss Side, but the pair of you will join forces soon enough. But before all that as well, another of the avenues of work for you, if you like, will be getting Walkden ABC up and running, which was, of course, delayed. There was some kind of issues anyway, and then lockdown has completely put it back. But I know that there's work has been going on, and that's in association with Maverick as well. So where are you at the moment with the gym?
So the gym's basically ready to go. The actual full unit itself still needs some work to do. The Salford Leisure, which have got the youth club side of it, we're doing it in conjunction with them. They've got a lot of work to do to get their place up to where they need to get it to. But the reception area and our gym is basically ready to go. We're just waiting for the go-ahead for the council. We was waiting for the change of usage to go through, and there was a few little road bumps which kept cropping up. But in terms of the gym itself, it's ready to go. But this, I've wanted this to happen for a long time, and for one reason or another, we kept getting roadblocks put in the way, and it never comes to fruition. And it's only solely because when I had a meeting with Charlotte and sat down, and she asked me about, have I never thought about opening an amateur boxing club near me? And I said, so I told her the story about the stuff I'd been through in the past to try and get it off the ground. So that, because I've seen the success of Nigel's gym in such a tough area, and I wanted the impact what Nigel's had in that area to have the same impacts in the area where I grew up. So if it wasn't for Charlotte's help and being the doing the legwork basically, because I'd become that busy. It was going to be near enough impossible for me to do it on my own. And only through their help as this got to the stage now where we're on the verge of it coming to fruition. And I'm excited about it. It's going to change a lot of kids' lives.
So when lockdown is finally lifted and kids can get back in the gym, you're going to be up and running, you're going to be ready for them. But in the meantime, can they register? Can they kind of get involved now before they can actually get in the gym, just to express their interest and all that kind of stuff? I mean,
so we literally got to the stage where we'd set up social media pages for people to get into contact to see when, keep people updated with opening times and when it was going to, everything was going to come to the stage where it could open. And then we hit a roadblock. So we've had a meeting this morning about, is there stuff we can do? So a point of contact to people to get some information. Is there something what we could be doing in the meantime which could keep them occupied, where, it might give them a head start? Is there a Zoom sort of gym thing where people could register and come online and start to learn the basics? So we've had a meeting today about that. So we're hopefully going to put something in place. For argument's sake, if the gym's not going to be able to open for another 6 to 8 weeks, then is there going to be a possibility where we can put something in place that they're already ahead of the game by the time they actually walk into the gym, so they've got some idea of the fundamentals? So it's an idea what we've put out today, and we're going to try and make that happen.
Right, so you can keep people abreast of what's going on, and so everyone can just stay in touch now. I mean, obviously your own Twitter feed, social media, you're going to keep the young people in Walkden up to date with what's happening, when they can come through the doors, basically, and how they can keep fit in the meantime, and how they can just...
Of course, so once we've got something solid in place, which is going to be able to move forward with, then I'll put it out on my social media, on my Twitter and my Instagram, with the people, with the information for the people where they can log their interest and register, and then hopefully we can get the ball rolling with it.
And when you are up and running properly as well with this, but also with your professional stable, what's the situation? I mean, is it just at the moment just WhatsApp conversations that you're having and just keeping in touch with everybody? What's the kind of scene, if you like, with all your fighters?
Yeah, so because of the announcement the other day regarding professional sports and people being allowed to train and stuff like that, then we're putting things into place now to start back next week. The only one who's really got anything sort of solid at the moment is Carl Frampton. They're talking about him maybe fighting it towards the end of July. But it's going to be in Belfast because of the travel restrictions and stuff. So the Herring fight doesn't look like it's going to be able to happen first. It looks like Herring's going to box somebody else, and then Carl will fight the winner towards the end of the year, hopefully, by the look of it. But in terms of everyone else, Chantel's in with a... She's just signed a deal with Eddie Earn, and hopefully he can get her out on one of his shows once the ball gets rolling. Dave Allen, there's been talk about in boxing. Akib, Steve Wood's been talking about Akib Fiaz getting out maybe on an Eddie Earn show, because again, he's just signed a matchroom deal. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but fighters like Jack Catterall, who've been sat around forever waiting for his world title shot. Martin Murray and Rocky Fielding have just sort of at that stage in the career now where they've achieved a lot and they're just sort of waiting around for an opportunity. And then the younger lads coming through. So it's difficult because the Boxing Board of Control rules are set at the moment. There's only 6 fights per card. So it's difficult to get a lot of fighters out in a short space of time. So they're talking about maybe doing a couple of shows a week. So it's all ideas in a minute. But so the only one who really has got any idea who's got a fight is probably Carl, and that's towards the end of July. But I'm guessing over the next week or so we should start getting some more news.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because even that date isn't fixed for Carl. He's just got an idea that he's going to be fighting at the end of July. But and then opponent-wise, it's not the big fight he wanted. Then, so what kind of opponent then? Again, I know it's all if buts and maybes at the minute, but would it be a domestic opponent because there's a travel? Would it just someone that he can tick over with?
That's the big question. What do you do? It's, with Carl's at the stage of his career now where he only wants to be involved in big fights, but what do you do in that situation? So that's what we're talking about. Obviously, the TV company have got to be involved, the promoters, the management. They'll come up with an idea and see where they can go with it, because you can't just make the big fights what you want to make. So you have to come to some sort of compromise in the meantime. you know, it's only probably going to be for another 2 months where you can't make those sort of big fights. So do you have an interim fight in the meantime, just to make sure that the tools are sharp for when the big fight comes? So it looks like that's going to be the plan. But like you say, there's just no way of making anything definite yet until the people who make those decisions, like the promoters, the management and the TV companies, can sit down and discuss it.
For a fight like Carl as well, behind closed doors, which this first one will inevitably have to be, then that's going to be weird, because he's one of a few fighters. If you think Josh Warrington, Carl, they've got these mad fan bases that they've absolutely buzzed off all through their careers, and it'd be very bizarre for them to have to fight without any kind of backing in an arena, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah, you're right. And I suppose fighters, in that sense, the only way you can associate it with is sparring. You know, you spar a lot of the time, and there's only sort of 5 or 6 people around, if that. So it's not like they can't do it. It's just it's a different situation in because it's a contest and the smaller gloves and no headgear and stuff. But you know, the UFC seem to have made it success of it. So I can't see why boxing doesn't. And you've just got to be professional about it. You know, a lot of the time coming through when you're boxing at 5 o'clock when the arena's just opened. I'm sure Carl's been in those situations when there's only been 10 people in the arena and he's had to get through it. So it's not like he won't have been through it in the past. It's just, it was sort of years ago, but I'm sure he'll be able to revisit those times.
You just disappeared. Oh, you're back again. There you are. And right, so if you...
Chaos. That was Captain Chaos trying to ring me.
Is that right? Right. Well, I won't keep you long because Nige is a very important man. But you're back in next week, which means that have you got everyone back in next week? Is it the first time then? Or
so
Dave Allen for argument?
We've just got to be sensible about it, haven't we, Dom? You know, obviously we're not through this. Terrible time. This sensible stuff still needs to be put in place. So obviously social distancing, staggering the gym time so that everyone's not in at the same time, just to make sure that there's some sensible stuff in place so that people can protect themselves. And you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of these rules what have been put in place are for people who literally don't listen to rules, to make sure that they do, because anyone with an ounce of common sense would have been able to protect herself and the family and look after herself if they'd not been put into lockdown. But you know, it's something what we've had to go through to get to this stage. It looks like it's working now. So people, you know, you'd be stupid to jeopardise that for the sake of the next 2 or 3 weeks. We just got to make sure that we get through these next 2 or 3 weeks. The numbers keep coming down, and then hopefully we can get back to normal.
And I just mentioned Dave Allen then, because I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago and he was telling me that he'd moved to his sister's. He was just training. He looked incredibly well. I'm sure you've spoken to and seen him and everything else. He looked to be physically and mentally in great shape anyway, even in lockdown, when, you know, he'd taken himself away from any distractions in Doncaster, just focusing on getting fit, getting his weight down, all the rest of it. So again, he looks to be, it looks like you're getting him now at a great stage of his career where he looks refreshed. He's got rid of a few demons. He looks ready for the next phase. Is that what the sense you're getting?
Definitely. I think timing's everything, especially in boxing. And I'm a big believer in fate, and things happen for a reason. And he's probably been through all those experiences, what he's been through his career for a reason. People have been talking about him coming to train with us for a long time, and it's never happened for whatever reason. But he's got a lot of experience. He can definitely fight. He's probably he's going to come to my gym at a stage when he's probably realising that he's coming towards the end, and if he doesn't knuckle down and book his ideas, and then he's going to probably waste his talent. You know, I say waste it. He's been successful in a sense anyway, but not fulfil his potential is what really I should have said. So yeah, I'm probably getting him at the right time, but I definitely feel like the lads in my gym and the atmosphere in there will all suit him. I think it'll make him flourish. He'll be able to bring the best out in him, and I'm looking forward to it. And you're right, he looks in great shape. He's used the lockdown as a positive and took advantage of it and got himself in great shape. One of the first time I had the conversation with him on the phone, one of the conversations we had was about him not dieting during actual training camp and getting him to a roughly around the weight what he'd want to fight at, so that he can eat healthily during training camp, stay stronger, so it wouldn't affect him, because there's no point in being affected by making weight as a heavyweight. So that was one of the, you know, and it sounds stupid, it sounds, you know, real common sense, but it's something what people overlook. And he took it on board, and he's gone away. He's done the work. He's put it into practice, and he looks in great shape. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to work with him.